Hello and welcome back to the Daily Brew, the devotional where every day we, usually try a new brew, and every day we see what God is brewing for us in the Bible. Yes, it's cheesy, but it's true. We are getting close to tea week, so we will be bringing back the brews soon. But as you know, Harry's lost his voice, so you're stuck with me, bringing his notes to you. Here are our scriptures for today, and then we'll get straight into the Bible. So today we're reading from Proverbs 27, verse 23 to 28, verse 6. So that's 2 chapters in Proverbs, a little bit of goodness there. Hebrews 13, verses 1 to 25. Ezekiel 30, verses 1 to chapter 31, verse 18. People, people, people. To God, all that really matters in this life is people. We're encouraged in our Proverbs around many of Harry's favourite scriptures for pastoral ministry. One of the favourite scriptures. The scripture says to know the sheep by name and to pay careful attention to the flock. The Bible uses the image of a shepherd and their flock to describe God's care of his people and also the roles of leaders within the church. If you're a leader right now, how well do you know your people? As a leader in the church, or to be honest, this works if you're just a leader in the workplace, how well do you know them? Are you feeding them? Are you keeping them safe through prayer? But as a family, and as a parent, this is true as well. As a friend, this is true. I believe God's people are a significant thing that God cares about. In Hebrews, the metaphor continues. Jesus is called the great shepherd of the sheep, his people. How should the community of his sheep behave? In our passage today, we get some instructions around the things we should bring to our community. So we should bring hospitality. In verse 2, it says we all should always be ready with a meal as we extend hospitality to one another, because we may in fact be extending it to angels. Have you ever had someone in your home for a meal? The depth of your relationship gets deeper because of this hospitality. We let our guard down and open up our hearts when we open up our homes to people. It's a great thing to do if you want to increase depth with someone. Secondly, we've got to bring marriages. In chapter 13, verse 4, we read about how we should honour marriages. In our culture today, marriage has been so watered down. But a marriage, a covenant made before God, is not something we should take lightly. We need to take marriage more seriously. And as a Christian, hold it with great honour, respect, and recognise its weight. A Christian marriage, which is actually what marriage is a covenant made between God and people. It's a serious commitment and not just a partnership or a legal requirement. It's one that takes God seriously. And finally, we bring contentment. In verse 5, we see this thought about being content. This is one that Harry finds hard, but contentment brings joy and minimizes things like jealousy and envy. Contentment says, God, what I have now and being with you is enough. I don't need anything and anyone else other than you and what you provide. There's nothing wrong with wanting nice things or dreaming for more, as long as it's not about going around God or wanting these things more than you want God himself. What should mark Christians is contentment. In this chunky passage, Harry writes, we also read how we should treat human leaders as God's people. It's a comprehensive list, but let's just run through it really quickly. In verse 7, 17, 18, 24, we should show them appreciation, imitate them, respond to them, pray for them, welcome them with grace. How would you rate your responsiveness and respect for your leaders? Finally, today in Ezekiel, we read about a community that doesn't know the Lord. His prophecy is about a judgment day when they will know that he is Lord. In this passage, we see the kinds of attitudes we should avoid in this community of faith. Verse 4, 6, 10, 9, 13, relying on wealth, arrogance, complacency, idol worship. We see this harsh contrast about the cedar of Lebanon. In towers high above the trees, birds come to nest, and all the great nations hide in its shade. It's majestic and beautiful. It has deep roots and drinks from the abundant waters. We see this great win, but then it's chopped down. What we need to be is like the mustard seed, starting small and growing big. As God's people, this is who we are to be. Not just strong cedars of Lebanon that come out of nowhere, but men and women of God who grow into the bigness that God has for us.
3, 2.
Okay, it's time for verse of the day, and today it's a very short one. Hebrews 13, verse 25. Grace be with you all. Grace be with you all. A beautiful way to sign off a letter. I wonder if this is our desire for people, that His grace would be with them. That was certainly the desire of the letter writer of Hebrews. Having God's grace is a pretty good thing to have. And so today, may God's grace be with you. All right, that is it for today for the Daily Brew. Thank you so much for joining me again. We'll be back tomorrow with day 321. Enjoy the presence of God, whether it's morning or night. Enjoy the scriptures if you haven't yet read them. Either way, be blessed. We'll see you tomorrow.